Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Circuit Surfer 42. Thanks for the suggestion, Surfer. You asked, how is solder actually made? If you've ever seen someone melting that shiny silver wire onto a circuit board and wondered, wait, what is that stuff? This one's for you. Today, we're diving straight into the molten metal world of solder. How it's made, why it's made that way, and what keeps your electronics from falling apart the moment you sneeze near them. So grab your goggles, crank up the heat, and let's melt some science right here on Explaining Everything. Let's start with the basics. Solder isn't magic. It's a metal alloy, which means it's a carefully balanced mix of different metals working together. In electronics, solder's job is to stick components together and let electricity flow between them. It's basically the world's most sophisticated metallic glue. For a long time, the favorite recipe was 63% tin and 37% lead, a combination that melts at about 183 degrees Celsius. It was cheap, easy to use, and made strong, shiny joints. The only problem? Lead is, well, poison. Turns out lead exposure wasn't the aesthetic anyone wanted. So modern manufacturers ditched the lead and switched to lead-free solder, which is mostly tin, around 95%, with small amounts of copper, silver, or nickel. The most common modern mix is called SAC solder for tin, silver, copper. It melts a bit hotter, around 217 degrees Celsius, but it's safer for people and for the planet. Each ingredient plays a role. Tin makes it melt at a manageable temperature. Silver boosts electrical conductivity and gives smoother joints. Copper adds durability and helps it resist cracking when things heat up and cool down. Put them all together and you've got a metal that melts easily, bonds perfectly, and solidifies strong, like a liquid superhero team made of tin. Now that we know what goes into solder, let's see how it's made. And fair warning, things are about to get hot enough to make your coffee jealous. It all begins with big, shiny blocks of pure tin, copper, and silver called ingots. These chunks are tossed into an industrial furnace, basically a giant metal volcano, and heated until they melt into a glowing silver soup. This part of the process is called smelting, and it's just as intense as it sounds. While everything's melting, workers or automated mixers carefully stir the molten metals to make sure they blend perfectly. Uneven mixing can create off spots where the alloy melts at the wrong temperature or doesn't flow properly later on. Think of it like mixing pancake batter. You don't want any weird clumps, especially if those clumps could burn through your table. When the mixture is perfectly uniform, it's poured into molds or cooling trays to form solid bars, known as solder ingots. Cooling has to be done carefully. Too fast, and you get brittle solder. Too slow, and you end up with big metal crystals that won't melt evenly. It's a delicate science, part metallurgy, part patience, part, please don't touch that, it's 250 degrees. Once cooled, these ingots are tested for purity and consistency. If the composition is right and the surface looks smooth and shiny, the batch is ready to move on to its next form. So now we've got solid bars of solder, but nobody's trying to solder a smartphone with a metal brick. Time to turn those bars into the thin, silvery wire you see in every electronics kit. The process starts by remelting the ingots and pushing the molten alloy through a machine called a wire extruder. Picture toothpaste being squeezed out of a tube, but instead of minty freshness, you get a continuous stream of molten metal that could ruin your week if you touched it. Once the metal cools into wire form, it's stretched through smaller and smaller dies, basically precise holes that thin and lengthen it until it reaches the perfect diameter. Every millimeter counts here. If it's too thick, you'll flood your circuit board. Too thin, and you'll spend all day trying to make a single connection. But here's the genius twist. Modern solder wire isn't just metal. Inside that shiny wire is a chemical called flux, a cleaning agent that removes microscopic oxidation on metal surfaces when you solder. Without it, the molten solder would just slide around awkwardly instead of bonding. So as the wire is formed, a core of flux is added right down the middle, creating what's known as rosin core solder. It's like a metal churro, solder on the outside, flux in the middle, and a satisfying hiss when it melts. Once it's cooled and coiled, you've got perfect spools of solder ready to make connections around the world. Before solder hits store shelves, it's tested like it's training for the Olympics. Teams check its melting point, strength, conductivity, and wetting ability, how smoothly it spreads across metal. If it melts too soon, it softens during use. Too late, it scorches components. Samples are even checked under microscopes to be sure the structure looks solid. No weird crystals allowed. Only top batches pass. Each is labeled like SAC305, 96.5% tin, 3% silver, 0.5% copper, then packed up and shipped to factories, repair shops, and that one overconfident DIY friend. From there, solder quietly holds our world together. Phones, cars, consoles, even satellites. One shiny little joint at a time. And that's how solder is made. From raw metal ingots melted in blazing furnaces to the sleek, coiled wire that keeps our electronics running. It's a precise mix of chemistry, engineering, and patience, all dedicated to making sure your gadgets stay glued together in perfect metallic harmony. So next time you pick up a soldering iron, take a second to appreciate that little silver wire. It survived the heat, the pressure, the testing, and maybe a few molten near disasters just to help you fix that broken circuit. And remember, never lick the solder. I shouldn't have to say that, but here we are. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other binge-able channels. Thank you for tuning in and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about here on Explaining Everything.